Hi guys! Welcome back to my channel. My name is Jamie. If you haven't been here before, I read a lot of books. I'm relatively new to YouTube, but not to the overall book world online. And I've started chatting about books on YouTube finally. So this weekend I was going to read a lot of books. It really was my plan. There was a casual readathon that a group on Facebook was sponsoring. I thought, yeah, that'd be a good idea. And then I ended up spending the weekend moving furniture. So instead of doing a lot of print books, I did audiobooks because I could listen to those while moving furniture around. So I finished 2 books. Actually, I kind of finished 3 because I finished Adam Bede at the beginning of the weekend. So, kind of 3 books. But Adam Bede I finished on Friday. It was within the readathon days, but not necessarily what I thought of as the weekend. So, Adam Bede was good. Not my favorite. It was about the same sort of classic as Lorna Doone in my experience of it. So it was pleasant. It was easy to read. Not really my thing. I might have liked it more when I was in my early 20s. I had a lot more of that idealistic sort of, I'm going to grow up and have a homestead of my own sort of fantasy. Not really something I've been wanting for a while. So, I don't know. I think that's one that it would have been better if I'd read it when I was younger. Maybe I'll like George Eliot more as I get older, too. I think right now is just, it's not catching me somehow. Adam Bede is the 3rd George Eliot book I've read. I read Silas Marner as a child, actually. I was probably about 11. And I did relate a lot to the little girl in Silas Marner because I was a little girl myself, a bit older than the child in the book. And just like the little girl in Silas Marner, I was kind of a daddy's kid. So I hung out with Dad a lot and helped him fix cars and stuff like that. So that relationship between an adult and a child where they're friends, not just parental sort of arrangements, that made sense to me. I don't know how I'll receive that book if I reread it, which is kind of my plan this year. I have an omnibus collection of novels of George Eliot, so I might as well read the whole thing. And Silas Marner is one of the books in there. I've also read Middlemarch, which is not in this one because it would take far more pages than you'd want to lift with all the other books in the mix. The other 2 books in this collection besides Adam Bede are The Mill on the Floss and Romola. So I will be reading those eventually. Mill on the Floss is on the Boxall 1001 Books You Must Read Before You Die list. The other 2 are not on that list. So they're just additional books by the same author that I'm reading. You'll notice when I read an author, I'm not just interested in whether they're on a particular list. I want to read a lot more books by that author, partly so I have some idea if the books I've just read are representative of that author's work. Is this the only book that is of interest to most people, or is this, the one that people assign the most because it hits the right tone or the right themes? Is it just popular because of chance? That kind of thing. Quite often the books I like best by an author are not the ones that were chosen for the Boxall list. So when I read an author, you'll probably hear about a lot more than just the books that are on the 1001 Books You Must Read Before You Die lists. And same thing for the Guardian 1000 novels list and any other lists I read off of. So George Eliot is going to make more appearances in the rest of this year's reading. Also, Patricia Highsmith is going to be an author I will probably look up more books from, especially audiobooks, because I need to put my room back in some sort of order. And the Talented Mr. Ripley audiobook turned out to be really listenable and a really good book. I enjoyed it. It's been a while since I consumed a book off the 1001 books list that I actually enjoyed as much as my pleasure reading that's not on a list. Often I feel like the Boxall list is my sort of experience of still being in school after I'm no longer in school. Like, I kind of miss being in academia, I guess. So it's a huge list of assigned reading, and I can read it, and there's all sorts of people that are also reading the same books, so I can do the book discussions just like if I was in class. In one of the groups on Goodreads, you even get points for writing reviews, so I can write about the book I just read. It's like being in school. Really, that is kind of part of the point. For some of us, I know I'm not the only one, that we just miss being in school. And the Boxall list, just as a sort of extension on that aside, it was put together by, I guess, a bunch of academics in Britain. So when you read the bios of all the people who contributed suggestions of books for the list in the book, the Boxall's 1001 Books You Must Read Before You Die, that is an actual book. It's been published in multiple editions, and each time they change a few books around. But it has bios for the people that helped to contribute to compiling this list. They're mostly academics. They might all be academics. It's been a while since I read it. I don't own it. I just checked it out from the library. But academics from a small college in Britain, in all sorts of fields, so it's not like they're all from the same department of literature or something, but this is not a diverse enough group of people to really give you a diverse list of books. And for what it is, it's good. It's a massive assigned reading list from a small college. Yay. Which, if that's what you're looking for, is kind of exciting. But it doesn't do a lot of genre fiction. It doesn't do a lot of modern fiction unless it's something that you could imagine being assigned in a modern literature class. So anything that's too new or too mainstream might not make it on the list. And the things that are on the list, you could imagine how a professor might work them into a lecture, or I noticed that long before I read the bios. It's just the style of book selections that they are. For example, Sarah Waters, the books selected by Sarah Waters for the 1001 list are very much gender studies books. She has other books. She has one that's kind of a gothic novel with kind of a ghost or poltergeist that causes trouble. She has one that I really like that could be in a gender studies class, but would be more historical fiction and not really about being a lesbian. She wrote this one called Night Watch that's really good. That's my favorite Sarah Waters so far. It's a historical fiction following a bunch of women who work as ambulance drivers in the Blitz. So if you're looking for something along those lines, I highly recommend that one. But that is not on the list, whereas Fingersmith and Tipping the Velvet are. Both of those are definitely what you'd read in gender studies class. And I think one of them was at least excerpted for the gender studies class I had as an undergrad. So, anyway, as that aside, I moved my bed because my cats were leaving me disgusting presents on my bed to tell me that they don't like having the kittens here, which they have a right to their opinions, but no, That's just not okay. They have other ways of telling me if they don't like the kittens that are at least not as consequential. So I moved my bed to the only part of my place that has a door that I can shut and exclude the cats. So I've kind of moved out of the rest of my place. I go out there and, use the kitchen and other stuff and take care of the cats and then go back to my room. For now, that's the way it's going to be once I get my room set up so that it's a little more cat safe again. Then they can come in for supervised visits. But until the kittens leave, I have a feeling this is going to be the way things are. Some of the cats are cool with the kittens. Most of them, I would say. But there's 2 in particular. I know who is leaving the presents. And I like them. I don't want to send them elsewhere. Therefore, this is going to be the arrangement. They know who they are. We've discussed it. Yeah. So I will be listening to more audiobooks for the rest of tonight and early part of this week. I started Star Maker by Olaf Stapledon. It's a sort of philosophical kind of metaphysics, sci-fi, meaning of life, what is outside of what we can see, what is the nature of God if there is one, that kind of stuff. The book is good. The audiobook reader is driving me nuts. And I think I'm just being crabby. I think the kind of weekend I've had, I'm just being crabby. But every few pages of reading, there's words that this guy doesn't know how to say them. It's not just 1 or 2. I know a lot of people think it's really cute when you know words that you don't know how to pronounce. It means you read a lot. That's great. A lot of the words this guy doesn't know concern me. So I'm having a hard time with this one because I keep mumbling along, fixing his pronunciation on basic English words. And it's not the kind of book where it's so gripping that I can get over it. But it's not the worst audiobook I've heard. I might just bump it up a little bit speed-wise. I think I have it at 1.25 now. I'll just bring it up to 1.5, and if it's fast enough, then I process what he said without grumbling about how he said it. That may be the solution. I'm also reading some other physical books. I'm going to finish Depths of Glory this week. I'm absolutely going to finish that book this week. I'm also going to finish, hopefully, Pleasure by Gabrielle D'Annunzio, and American Pastoral by Philip Roth. Both of them are on the 1001 list. And Red Threads by Rex Stout, which is a Nero Wolfe novel. And I have 2 omnibus Elric of Melnibone books by Michael Moorcock that I'm partway through both. They're a lot of short stories and short novels squished together. So I hope to finish those soon. That's kind of what I'm actively reading. And I have a whole bunch of other ones that I can switch out if I really need something different. I'll do some more videos later about what I'm crocheting, because that is going to be part of my channel. I just haven't really talked about it much yet. And I'll update more when I finish some more books. Talk to you later, guys. Bye.